This occurs at the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam. The 3 slokas that Srila Guru Maharaj says, composed by Veda Vyas, then he sent it to the market. So, Sambandha Avideya Prayojan Janmadya Sayaton Vayad slok first, then this Dharmak Projita Kaita Botra second, Bhagavat Palam Gali Nigama Kapatur Galitam Palam Prayojan Tattva. So we can understand that in these slokas are condensed meaning, extremely condensed. It's like when Guru Maharaj was explaining about Gayatri, he told the seed, a tiny small seed, and the banyan tree comes out of the seed. It's more and more revelation. So, Srila Prabhupada, when he did a summary study of the 10th canto, he titled it the Krishna book. So, this whole Bhagavatam really is the book of Krishna, pure Krishna conception, Paramahansa Sangita, the Super Purana, the Maha Purana, Srimad Bhagavatam Pramana Mamalam, spotless evidence, the ultimate, pure presentation of the personality of Godhead. Because we find that Veda Vyas, even having presented Mahabharata, which contains Bhagavad Gita, and compiled so many Vedic literatures and Puranas, was feeling some despondency. And Narada arrived, Narada in the capacity of Guru, and told him that the root cause of his malaise was having not presented spotless Krishna conception. Right? Although he'd presented Krishna up to this point, and we can say perfectly, but still people might interpret things otherwise. Interpretation, absolute consideration and relative consideration. So he said, in relative consideration of the absolute, people were likely to deviate and go in the wrong direction. So he pointed him in the direction of the necessity of presenting Krishna conception in all of its perfection, inclusive of the jiva having a part to play in the pastimes of Krishna. Muktir hidbanyatu rupam svaropena vivastiti. So in this sloka, second, the Abhideya sloka is Dharmak projita kaita botra paramo nirmat saranam satam vedyam vastavam vastu shivadam tapatrayon mulanam Srimad Bhagavate Mahamuni Krite Kimba Parar Ishvara Sadyo Hrida Varujate Kritibi Shushushubi Takshanat. In the sloka before, a description, again, and concentrated form about the Supreme Absolute Truth, Krishna. And it's called Krishna alone is not the Supreme Absolute Truth, Radha and Krishna. Janmadyasya yataha. Chakrabarti Thakur informing us when it says, echoing the sutra of Vedanta, Janmadyasya yataha, or the Upanishads, Yato ba imani bhutani jayante, that from which everything is emanated. He indicates Janma, Adi, that the Adi here can also be interpreted to mean Adi Rasa, Mukhya Rasa, Madhura Rasa, the principal rasa of which all other rasas are but satellites. Right. And if by indication Radha and Krishna are the Supreme Absolute Truth, then it even points to Parakya as being the original. Right. As Guru Maharaj and Gurudev point out, Vrindavan, Goloka Vrindavan, Gokula Vrindavan, permeated by Parakya Bhav. That is at the heart of the matter of Krishna conception. That the uncertainty principle. Yashoda, hearing rumors that Krishna is the son of Vasudeva and Devaki, that he's not her son. That uncertainty she dismisses as a vicious rumor. The cowherd boys, hearing the gossiping cowherd men on their interpretation of all the miraculous feats of Krishna, killing so many demons, lifting the Govardhan hill, dancing on Kali, so many, that he's not an ordinary boy. He's a Deva, he's God, or he's Deva Deva, the God of gods. And those boys are thinking, their Parakya Bhav is expressed in form. Gopal is not one of us. It pushes the heart to a greater depth of love and affection and assertion. No, he's our Gopal. They're telling like that, but he's our Gopal. I was reminded of this, the Bengali minister of tourism and commerce, Tarun Kanti Ghosh. It's like the grandson of Shushir Kumar Ghosh, the author of Ami Nimai Charit, Lord Gauranga. And he used to come to the Calcutta temple, and I was assigned to chaperone him. And we had deities there, Radha Govinda and Mahaprabhu. But K.K. Birla donated Radha Govinda, but Tarun Babu, he had donated Mahaprabhu. And he'd always come with this hand in his mala and stay for some time, discuss many things. But before he'd go, he'd always stand at the door, turn, and look at Mahaprabhu, and then look at me and go, Amar Gauranga. My Gauranga. I thought, that's very sweet. My Gauranga. So it's one thing, Tattvamasi, I am yours. But we're told devotee sentiment even higher is, you are mine. My Gauranga, Amar Gauranga. My Gopal, our Gopal. How sweet the possibility is there. And what to speak of the Braja Gopis. So Vishwanath Chakrabarti Thakur has said, Aradhya Bhagavan Brajesh Tanayas Tadama Vrindavanam Ramya Kachid Brajabadu Upasan Brajabadu Bargena Jakalpitai Srimad Bhagavatam Brahmana Mamalam Prema Pumarto Mahan. That's what Narada said. Vast, beyond Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. What is moksha? Muktir hidvanyata rupam swarupena vivasiti. Vyas came with that from Narada. I grew over to say, soham, another Mayavadi expression. He said, that's okay. He said, what is sa? And they go, drop of the ocean, and okay. If the drop has certain qualities, then shouldn't the ocean have those qualities also? As a drop of that ocean, we see you have so many qualities. You can see, hear, taste, touch, smell, and feel. You can have loving interaction. Cannot the ocean, of which you are a drop, has no such capacity? Impossible. Only greater magnitude, infinitely loving, prati anga lage khande prati anga more, able to satisfy the hankering, the hankering of every atom of our soul, and not only us, of all souls. And not only that, simultaneously, Akila Rasamrita Murti is Krishna. Like Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Mahaprabhu telling Rupa Goswami, the length and breadth of this ocean is immeasurable. I can't describe everything, but I'll take a drop and explain that. And a drop of the infinite is infinite. Dharmak projita kaitavotra paramo nirmat saranam satam. Dharmak projita. Sridhar Swami said. So mukti, conventional mukti, rejected in the pages of the Bhagavatam. Svarupena vivasiti. Jiva has this reality potential. As Guru Maharaj said, quoting Einstein, reality is a thing plus something. What? It's potential. It's not just what it appears to be superficially. It's in terms of its potential, its prospect, the prospect of its capacity, or the capacity of its prospect. Loving units, reciprocating love and affection. Krishna and Krishna as the ocean, so the drop. Right? How? I cannot say specifically about that without looking at it. But we know that everything has to be consistent. So here, where we're being told how to make our approach, that ulterior motive, anya abhilashita shunyam jnana karma jnavratam anukulyena krishnano shilanam bhakti ruttama. No ulterior motive. Chakrabarti Thakur is saying the method invented by the Braja Gopis, there's no superior way to worship the Lord. Aradhya Bhagavan Brajesha Tanaya. Who's the Lord of Vrindavan? His Tanay, his son. Brajesha Tanaya, Tadama Vrindavanam. And his land, Vrindavan, what is it characterized? Mercy over justice, heart over intellect. Where love and affection reign supreme. So he can only be captured by love and affection. He's not impressed with any display of intellect, mental prowess, miracles, yogic siddhis, any such thing. But heart, the power of love and affection, sometimes Guru says, the greatest thing ever invented, aspired to. What is admittedly driving everyone in this world, searching for love, sweetness, affection. It's the goal, the target of everyone. So on the basis of what Narada told Vyasa, Vyasa is beginning by saying, so any religious ideas that have ulterior motive, they're dismissed from the pages of the Bhagavatam. None of that will be presented here. What I presented previously, you might think something like that. It was not my intention, but I can understand you could think that way. So I'm telling you at the onset of this literature, there will be nothing like that here. And if it appears to be, it's not. And to enter into the mysteries of Krishna conception, nirmat sarja, nirmat saranam satam. You'll have to appreciate the devotees of Krishna. Not to think you can have a direct connection with divinity. The shift is going to take place. You're going to understand the necessity of the devotee and the happy necessity of the devotee. And of the highest devotee, Achyuta Priya, We can say Achyut Priya Paramahansa, that Krishna is dear to the Paramahansas. But if we take the name Achyuta Priya, can also mean who's most dear to Achyuta. And the name Achyuta is used in the Panchadhyaya section, 5 chapters of the Rasa Leela in the 10th canto. So, can also indicate Srimati Radharani. As Guru is most dear to Krishna, Raghunath Das Goswami says, Mukunda Preshta. Of all who are dear to Krishna, who is the most dear to Krishna? Means Srimati Radharani. So the highest expression of Guru Tattva is realized in her. So those who do not recognize her cannot enter into the mysteries of Krishna conception. Those who do not recognize her, and by extension her delegation, cannot enter into the mysteries of Krishna conception. At best they can have some remote isolated concept of Krishna. Vasudev Sarvamiti Samahatma Sudurlabha. Vasudev, Krishna alone. But Bhagavan proper is Krishna in the company of his potency. So when we say, Soham, the Sa, as Guru said, what is the nature of he? He said, like a king, and king implies queen, kingdom, etc. He said, but the king has many positions also. King in the palace, king in the harem. He behaves differently, that king. So, if we think of what Narada told Vyas, then we'll get a hint of how to interpret what is there. And one thing we're told, he said, in the Jugupsitam Dharma Krite Anushasana sloka, that he condemned mundane religion. And Guru Maharaj paraphrased in this way by saying, you've told people how to get free from their disease, but you didn't tell them about a healthy life. Just the emphasis on, here's the disease, how to treat the disease, how to come to the healthy position. But the positive aspects about healthy life, that you did not properly indicate. So he said, you've done a great disservice by indirectly promoting mundane religion, meaning religion followed to live happily in the mundane world, right? Not with a target of entry into the positive, serving spiritual domain. So he used the word jugupsidam, means condemned. Sometimes Guru Maharaj would say, traitor, treachery, you're a traitor to the cause. Narada's chastising him very severely. But after we hear the pastimes of Krishna with Radharani and Braja Gopis, when Parikshit Maharaj sees the apprehensive look on the faces of the sages assembled there, he again uses the word jugupsidam and says, in the beginning, Narada was chastising Vyas for in a sense, giving religion as it was understood up to that point, people, that it would mislead people. Now, and you're saying this, now the dharmak projita kaitava, the purest thing is going to be given. And what did you just tell everyone? That not only is Krishna a prakrita lila, Krishna jateka kela sarvatam naralila naravaputara swarup, a man, human-like pastimes, but now you're telling us he's an immoral man. So people who are moral and follow religion, that's to be rejected. And here's Krishna violating the principles of religion. We're supposed to understand this is the highest thing. Very interesting new religion you're presenting here. So following moral principles, bad. Breaking all these principles, good. Well, yes, if you're the absolute good, yes, then your stealing is worshipable. Your seeming encroachment upon the properties of others is a delight. When Guru Maharaj told me concept, autocrat, despot, and liar. The devotees were shocked to hear those things. Autocrat, despot, liar. It just didn't sound like the normal way you describe God. Or praise the Lord. And then, autocrat? Yes. Then in Hegelian terms, reality is for itself and by itself. And the sloka before. Abhigya Swarat. He is for himself and by himself. As when Oscar Wilde told in the intro of Picture of Dorian Gray, all art is quite useless. And what he meant to say, in the art for art's sake movement, if it's really art, the high type of art, then it doesn't exist to fulfill any secondary purpose. It exists for itself and by itself. That's what he was saying. Of course, he is applying it to mundane art. Even then, he could understand this principle. That if it's going to be glorified as art in the true sense, it must exist by itself and for itself, for its own purpose. Not any secondary purpose. It's not useful. That's what he meant by saying useless. You can't, not only, it's not useful for something else. If you try to use it for another purpose, it turns into something else. And that's what I'm saying. If you use Krishna conception for some other purpose, then it's not Krishna proper. It's in the name of Krishna and looking like Krishna, but it's not Krishna proper. Bhajaniya Sarvasat Guna Vishishta, Jiva Goswami saying, when you come in connection with Krishna proper, you won't try to use him for your lower purpose. You'll offer yourself to him for his higher purpose. That's Krishna conception. That's why there has to be the concept of the servitor and the servant and service. Otherwise, they'll say, oh, I like Krishna, I like God, I like this, I like that, as long as he's fulfilling your lower purpose. Right? Whereas we, as I heard Guru Maharaj say today, we're meant to be exploited by him. He's not afraid to use that language. however politically incorrect it might sound. We're trying to understand the substance of a thing. To be exploited by the absolute good is a good thing. Autocrat, he exists by himself and for himself to fulfill his own purpose. We're afraid, we're suspicious. But what do you think the purpose of the absolute good is? Then we need to understand the Sa. Who is he? What is he? Rasaraj. His ecstasy personified. What is that one? Abhyantare Rupam Yam Shamasundaram Jyotir. Beyond the light is the beautiful form of Shamasundar Krishna. He's ecstasy personified, beauty personified, sweetness personified, love and affection personified. Autocrat, despot. Autocrat, despot, and liar. He said, all right, autocrat we can understand something. But despot? Yes, he said, because if there's any check on his autocracy, we'll become the losers. Therefore, despot. He's the absolute good. It's not multicultural, pluralistic, ascending democracy, but descending, autocratic, despotic theocracy. Now people are really going to be worried. Because he's the absolute good. Do you want to check his movement? The way you have to check in this world. Look over your shoulder, cover your back. Jivo jiva shajivanam, because at every moment one living being is trying to exploit another. We don't want to be exploited. Nimittam matram bhavasavya sachan. Krishna tells Arjuna, it's already done. But as an instrument of divine will, you can offer yourself. And you'll also get the credit. Autocrat, despot so that his absolute good autocracy is not checked. Jugupsitam, they're thinking he's a man like them. Once, when I was at the Esplanade in Calcutta in 1974, and an Indian, it's like a scene from a movie. I'm from America, dressed in saffron, and an Indian who's converted to Christianity approaches me. He says, hello, my name is John Thomas. And we start talking. He's trying to preach to me. Then goes back and forth a few times. Now there's 500 people listening to our conversation. You know, like where do you have to go to preach? Just stop at the Esplanade and start talking to somebody. It's 500 people like listening. And we're going back and forth. Now he's asking me a question. Then it comes out and he says, all the Matsarja, the enemy, goes, what I want to know, why Lord Krishna is dancing with other men's wives? I went, aha. Turned to the, now we have a big crowd, it's like a show. Aha, now the truth comes out. Why Lord Krishna is dancing with other men's wives. And he said, Bhoktaram yagya tapasam sarva lokamaheshwaram. Everyone, including you and me and your wife and anyone else's wife, belongs to Krishna. Why have you taken one who belongs to Krishna for your enjoyment? And all the people, oh. Then we talk for some time, and only in India will someone admit defeat. He said, I haven't properly read these things. I'll have to study more carefully. A prakrita but, like mundane, but not. Right? Muhyanti atsuraya, even the gods are deceived by the human-like parameters of Krishna conception. The suppressed majesty and infinite aspect, suppressed. Chintamani charana bhushana mangananam. But the Braja Gopis, who invented that method of worshipping Krishna, they wear the Chintamani gem on their holy lotus feet, of which one gem is more opulent than the whole of Vaikuntha and Dwaraka. But liar, when Guru Maharaj was explaining this, he said, okay, autocrat, understood, despot, understood, but liar? He said, yes, because you're not ready to hear the truth. So he's taken the position of a liar. Paroksha bhada bedo yambalanam anushasanam, to gradually give you exposure to the truth. Like the way you teach a child. When Yashoda inquires from Krishna, at the behest of the cowherd boys, complaining against Krishna, have you eaten earth? No, they're just complaining because I'm beating them in play and they're trying to get me in trouble with you. You can see in my mouth whether there's any earth or not. And Yashoda sees within the mouth of Krishna the earth, planet, all the solar system, the Milky Way, the universe, innumerable universes. His lying is liberating because he's the absolute good. Damodar. Sometimes we're told seeing in the mouth, other times in the abdomen. Yashoda's trying to, tried to rope him. As we try to understand, verify the infinite with our intellect. So what happens? Each time, dui ongu, 2 fingers too short. Tying innumerable ropes, 2 fingers too short, again and again. But when Krishna sees the flowers falling from her hair due to her labor and the sweat on her brow, he consents to be bound by her love and affection. Tapatrayon mulanam, tabakatam ritam tapta jivanam kavibir iditam kalmasha apaham. Srutva gunan bhuvana sundara sanvatam te nirvishakarna vivarai haratunga tapam. The root cause of all suffering is forgetfulness of Krishna, separation from Krishna. The cure, Shrotavyas kirtitavyas cha smartavyas chechchitabhayam, is to hear about, glorify, and remember Krishna. Oh, Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. And in India, so often they would think like, Dharma, like you should behave until you're 25. Artha, and then make money. Get a job and make money. Kama, get married and enjoy married life. Then when your senses have been stripped and you're lost all sensory capacity, then moksha. Satyam Shivam Sundaram, that substance. Yes. The truth, auspicious, and ultimately reality, the beautiful. The highest aspect of the Supreme Reality is beauty, love, charm, and sweetness, attraction. As Solzhenitsyn said in his acceptance of the Nobel Prize in Literature, he quoted Dostoevsky saying, "Beauty will save the world." And he thought, really? He's thinking of this in relation to art and the place of art in the world. Said, it enhances, enriches one life. Sometimes we're told it's food for the soul, things like this. He said, but save the world? And then he thought about it more and he concluded. He said, yes, because truth and justice move in a linear way and are likely to get cut down. But without knowing it, he alluded to Rupa Goswami's slogan, saying, but beauty moves in an unpredictable way. Ahira evagata premna swabhava kutila bhavet. Serpentine in its movement. As we say, Sat Chit Anandam Satyam Shivam Sundaram. Sundarananda. Beauty, love, and affection to the infinite degree expressed in Krishna conception. But there's, how will we find Krishna in his highest expression? It says, Nirmatsaranam Satam. As a hint, the highest expression of Krishna, being himself, is found when he's in the presence of his devotees. And the supreme devotee, Srimati Radharani, Krishnamoyi. Swayam Bhagavan Krishna is at the side of Radharani. the fullest expression of Krishna. Kandar Pakoti Kamini Vishesha Shobham. It's at the side of Radharani. So Srila Guru Maharaj summarizes by saying, Yadamiya Mahima Sri Bhagavatam Kathayam Prati Padam Anubhutam Apya Labdavideya Tad Akila Rasamurti Shamalila Avalambam Madhura Rasadi Sri Radha Padma Padam Prapadye. Although ostensibly her name is not mentioned within, at every step of the way is meant to take us in the direction of the service of her holy lotus feet. Radha Dasyam. So necessarily, the book of Krishna is realized in service to her holy lotus feet. As Bhaktivinoda Thakur concludes his Bhagavat Arka Marichi Mala. Hare Krishna.